pharmacy?
Yeah, yeah. What's going on there? Anybody have anything there? Their daughter used to work at City Hall.
Oh, really?
Yeah. She worked.
So what kind of about
Where? You're talking.
yeah. He walks in about 5 to 7. He's down here.
Did you know Joe Welsh?
He did.
Well,
Yeah.
well, his wife is one of his daughter's folks.
I didn't know that.
That was her mom. I got the shop figured out.
How is it working?
Yeah, except when the other night, I did it. I told him, that's the food tree. Non-dairy malt. Really should get rid of it. Wine. Right after that, yesterday, well, it was Wednesday. It was Monday night. I did it Monday afternoon. I couldn't
Really don't.
All someone did figure it out. Came up, wrapped around my fucking face. I said, stop. Oh, God. He said, what's wrong? Nothing. You know, and all of a sudden, he goes, what?
Detention.
But I had it maybe 3 weeks ago after I bent down and was cutting some of the fence things that got so irritated.
Or when you're bending down. There's some kind of nerve down there.
San Francisco is nice. We had a nice time. Have you ever gone to a Rio's steakhouse like that one in Nazareth? That's right.
Yeah, Brazilian steakhouse.
Brazilian.
Yeah.
$194. What do you?
Like King's?
No, I mean, they bring the meat out.
How much can you eat?
Yeah, they bring the meat out. I had gin tonic. She had nice tea, and they take the time bringing the meat out to you because there's a whole thing. I want to call it a salad bar, but it's not. But it's
I get what you're saying.
So you go over there and eat some of that stuff. But the meat is really.
Did you go to Fishman Wharf?
Yes. So I'm down fishing. So we had eaten just a little bit, and I was hungry down there. So I saw things. Okay, they were about this big. And she had a whole thing of vegetables. So I said, I'll take a banana. It was $1.65 for a banana. I said, big. I said, do you sell them individually or do you sell them out of town?
Right.
No, individually. How much are they? $4.50. I said, no, I don't think I'm going to buy a thing. $4.50.
So I was there for like I was there for a couple of years. And they had big lunch.
Oh, yeah.
But you know what though?
But you know what? You're on vacation.
Sure.
And that's it.
Sure.
I really enjoyed Alcatraz.
Yeah, it's nice. It's nice. It's neat.
But what was neat? About 6 hours.
Oh, really?
Wasn't that long because he escaped.
A onesie that said, I spent 9 months on the inside.
Yeah, it was a shame.
I was going to get one.
Sure, they're good people.
Yeah, I'm gonna call him tomorrow.
No, he'll love to hear from you.
Got the boys, the triathlon,
Oh, yeah.
the Alcatraz climb,
Yeah.
run, sweat.
Don't even go there.
Oh, we got here. 1, 2, 3.
It's a long day.
I can imagine. Get the back. Full pledge.
Oh, thank you, sir. It's made from recycle bank. Is it 6? 5:59. Gotta wait. Yeah. Put my microphone on. That's funny. What do you do?
Okay, back up.
Yeah.
6 o'clock. Please rise for the invocation followed by pledge of flag.
Tonight, we meet to serve our community, to use our resources wisely and well, to represent all members of our community fairly, to make decisions that promote the common good. We also recognize our responsibility to the past, but also to the future, and the rights and needs of both individuals and community. As trusted public servants, we seek blessings on our deliberations and our efforts here tonight. May we act wisely and well. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, Mr. Clerk.
Mr. Brown?
Here.
Mr. Ettinger?
Here.
Mr. Milan?
Here.
Mr. O'Connell?
Here.
Dr. Ruggles?
Here.
Mrs. Volcano?
Here.
Mayor Panzo?
Here. Move on to the approval of the agenda.
Move to approve. Second.
Moved in second. Any discussions, additions, or deletions? Roll call.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Mr. Ettinger?
Aye.
Mr. Milan?
Aye.
Mr. O'Connell?
Aye.
Dr. Ruggles?
Aye.
Mrs. Volcano?
Aye.
Mayor Panzo?
Aye. Action on our minutes of our August the 14th stated session. I'll move it.
Second.
There's a second. Any additions, deletions, or corrections? Roll call, Mr. Clerk.
Mr. Ettinger?
Aye.
Mr. Milan?
Aye.
Mr. O'Connell?
Aye.
Dr. Ruggles?
Aye.
Mrs. Volcano?
Aye.
Mayor Panzo?
Aye.
Mr. Brown?
Aye. At this point on our agenda, we have public comment on agenda items only. If anyone would like to address the council, please come up to the podium, give your name and address, and must be on the agenda. At the end of the meeting, there's opportunity to speak. Garrett, you have a very controversial issue tonight. Maybe you won't get a certificate of appropriateness. It's tough. All right, moving on to consent agenda, Mr. Clerk.
Okay, we have 6 resolutions approving certificates of appropriateness for 56 North 3rd, 1618 South 6th, 22 Center Square, 100 to 116 Northampton Street, 118 Northampton Street, and 401 Northampton Street.
I move the consent agenda. Second.
Moved in second. Any discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Mr. Ettinger?
Aye.
Mr. Milan?
Aye.
Mr. O'Connell?
Aye.
Dr. Ruggles?
Aye.
Mrs. Volcano?
Aye.
Mayor Panzo?
Aye. There are no reports to be received by council. Move on to reports of the committee. Finance Committee, Councilmember Brown.
Thank you, Mayor. I have Bill 24 coming forth this evening. That's to improve the general obligation note. I also, at this time, going to have Mark speak on behalf of it on my report.
Good evening, Council. Just wanted to share good news with everybody. The RACP grant for the Bushkill Carter project, basically the silk mill and the extension, funds have finally come through. So we're going to use that money to then pay down the grant anticipation note that is outstanding.
Which was taken for that reason.
Correct. Many years ago.
And the next one will be for the Commodore, $3.5 million. Oh, did I say half? $3 million. We'll have to do it. We'll do a grant anticipation note on that as well. So,
Can I ask what the figure for the grant was?
The total grant?
Yeah.
Well, 11 million was the total,
Okay.
$9 million.
but 9 million.
$3 million for the silk, $3 million for the trail, and $3 million for the college.
Okay. I just wondered for my record wise. Okay. Thank you.
Any questions for Mark? The rest of it is on the agenda this evening for the refinancing. Economic Development Committee, Councilmember Volcano.
Thank you, Mayor. I just would like to say that the projects are moving along, as you can see, especially the Hearst project across the street. You can see it better from the 3rd floor looking down, because from the street you don't see too much happening. But from the 3rd floor you can see there is things happening, and we hope the steel is coming very shortly. Also, I'd like to say that the Senior Fest, again, was, in my opinion, a success. Was very, very hot again, but that's Senior Day, so that's to be expected. And I enjoyed myself, and I think all the seniors did too. So I encourage anyone that's a senior citizen to please come down next year and enjoy the festivities.
I'll be there.
Thank you.
You were there this year. Appreciate that.
Yep.
Roger was there cooking as well.
I mean, as a senior.
They didn't complain about the hot dogs. They complained about the hamburgers. Planning and Coach Committee, Councilmember O'Connell.
No report, Mayor.
Public Safety, Councilmember Milan.
Thank you, Mayor. I have no report, but I did want to request a public hearing for 2 weeks from yesterday to get all the individuals that are going to be affected by the Sickery Street improvements.
So are you talking a public hearing or public meeting?
Public hearing.
And that's gonna be on a Tuesday night?
Yes, please.
Are we still working on the stuff, Mayor, for changes also that night?
But Mr. Hopkins here, he can address it better than me because they've had another meeting of all the property owners
No,
just
but the
recently.
ordinances, Mayor. He's talking about the ordinances.
Oh, the ordinances?
Yeah.
We postponed that.
We postponed, now that we have the updated ordinances, I think we're just gonna have everybody go through it and then
Okay.
do it like Roger and Peter did it, and we'll do the general ones at those committee meetings. Try to get them done by the end of the year.
So, Tom, if you can just get a list of the property owners from that area, I'd appreciate it then, and get them letters mailed out, please. Thanks.
Now, this is, just bear with me,
Take your time.
South Siggraves?
Between Pine and Northampton.
Yes, please.
Thank you. Pine,
However, it affects the property owners all the way to Ferry Street. Right, Dave?
okay.
I mean,
So if
a
you-
guy's been there, Josh Palmer's been there, so they're down on Ferry.
Yeah, the meetings have been organized by Kim Kometz from Main Street to this point, and we don't really have. I think we have some concepts, and at the last meeting, all parties that attended were, pretty much in agreement for the basic concepts. One of the larger issues was the tour bus parking on the street, and I thought we had everything pretty well hashed out.
Solved that pretty well.
So yeah, I mean, we can, that'd be great to get everyone in the room, and we can hash out any details.
Thank you.
Sounds good.
Got it, Tom?
Okay, that's for September, what, the 10th, is it?
Yes, please.
Yeah.
6 o'clock.
Okay.
Council chambers.
Okay,
If you need help with the list, let me know, okay?
okay.
Public Works Committee, Dr. Ruggles.
I have no report tonight.
Administration Committee, Councilmember Eddinger.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I have no report, but I will be moving several resolutions, one regarding a job description for supervisor of neighborhood engagement, a salary and wage resolution, and two policies, and the approval of the bargaining agreement with the firefighters.
Okay,
That's all I have. Thank you.
Reports to the solicitor, Mr. Murphy.
Thank you, Mayor. Attorney Scheer and I have no report this evening.
Very good. Reports to the mayor. I would also mention about Senior Fest. I appreciate all the people who helped, and especially the AARP, who was one of our co-sponsors. Also, Clam Jam on Sunday was extremely successful, as well as movies at the Mill the night before, and at the Siegel Museum and at Bank Street Annex. The Affordable Housing Committee those letters are going out. It was interesting to see that Phillipsburg is doing the same thing, only they're looking at rent control ordinances. So, I don't know, I thought they were illegal myself, but they're looking at rent control ordinances that any existing rental unit that you occupy can't go up more than 3% a year, and if you pay the heat, it can't go up more than 2.8% a year. So, it'll be interesting to see their legislation when it comes out.
That's New Jersey.
I know it's New Jersey, but
But it's still federal.
it's a federal
It's a
housing guideline, so I don't know. I was surprised to hear that, but that's okay. Also, the 185 committee, I see former mayor here, Mr. Mittman, he'll be appointed to that committee. He's agreed to serve on it. That committee will be meeting sometime in the middle of September as a first meeting. The proposals are due September 27th. We'll go over guidelines and rules and metrics to see how they're going to evaluate each project. And then after that, they'll be meeting in most of October and November before they bring a presentation to City Council. Went over the financing. The Emerald ash borer has hit the city. We've lost a lot of our ash trees. Rob is working on that, and I know there's a number of issues that came up. I saw people were calling my office about the Ferry Street issue. The Ferry Street ash trees have been taken down, and they will be replaced, but they won't be replaced until the fall when you plant trees. Black Diamond update, the timetable on that is moving forward. We should have cleanup started by the end of the year. They're doing still doing the core drilling now. And construction will be starting sometime on or before June because the cleanup grant has to be expended by the end of May. So we're looking forward to that. We have Garrett here. He has approval now on his certificate of appropriateness. I was at the HDC meeting when they asked a few questions. I think one of the things we need to look at is maybe that ordinance. It's been in existence for about 16 years. It may be time to review it. Also today, we did receive a check from the men's hardball team up at Hackett Park. For those of you that don't know, Turk Starneri and Lou Tita are the ones who really get the volunteers. We don't maintain. All we do is cut the grass. They do a great job of maintaining that. And this year they brought back the 50 hours of baseball, which used to be a big thing in Easton. It was they had I think they had 22 teams this year, and the proceeds are going to the City Recreation Bureau. I attended our meeting last night of Cottingham Stadium. I'm real excited and happy with the fact that the school district did agree to keep it in Easton. I think it's a gem, not only for our West Ward because they're going to be opening it more, but also because it's a tradition that the high school has a name of Easton in it, and one of the most successful things has been, and you'll be hearing a lot more about the project in the coming 6 weeks. Also, you probably saw the news media that 507 has been sold to the relief of both myself and the code department. Borco bought that, who bought the 118, 120. This one is probably not even as bad as that one. So we're looking forward to that. They started working on that today. And also on the agenda for next week's planning commission meeting, they'll be back to talk about the apartment complex and grocery store that Ari Schwartz is proposing on the 600 block of Northampton Street on his empty lots, which started with Phil Mittman. Ari was in to see me in 2008 and had already been in to see Phil twice. So people keep coming back. So that's the end of my report.
Mayor?
Yes.
I just want to mention, too, in addition to the emerald ash borer, College Hill now has the spotted lantern.
We don't see. I haven't had them yet.
Yeah,
So you do have them, huh?
Yeah, we have them.
I got 'em.
Ken, you have? I don't have them yet. I had the cicada killers. They were horrible. I had probably 3 times as many as I had last year, and they were horrible this year. The whole month of August. But so you did get them.
Yeah, and I'd like to mention one other thing, too, that I forgot before. This is not actually part of the planning committee, but I would like to mention that the West Ward Initiative has started a program in the West Ward called Lights On, whereby we give lights and timers to the residents so that they can have their porch lights on all night. And so far, they've been giving them out at 2 different events, and it's been a real success so far, and the residents have really appreciated it.
It's a great idea. Great idea. Anyone else? There's no correspondence to be received. There's no unfinished business. Mr. Clerk will move right into new business.
Okay. One moment. Okay, we have bill number 21 being introduced by David O'Connell, not Davis. And an ordinance repealing Chapter 354, massage, reflexology, and spa establishments of the Code of the City of Easton, Pennsylvania.
So introduced.
We have bill number 22 being introduced by David O'Connell, amending sections contained in Chapter 435, property maintenance and housing standards of the Code of the City of Easton, Pennsylvania.
So introduced.
I have a
Yeah.
question actually from Mr. Narowski. Under motor vehicles,
Yes.
section 2. Is there a way we can put a time limit on that? Do you know what it reads?
I don't recall. off the
It's
top of my head.
the section regarding unregistered and or uninspected motor vehicles shall be permitted to be parked. Is there a way we can kind of limit that to a certain amount of time?
We certainly could. The logistics of maintaining a record, and I mean, as soon as we identify it, the clock could start if you want to set some sort of time frame.
I'd like to actually, if that's possible. So I'll make an amendment for the next meeting then.
What section is that?
It's
Like what?
under section
Number 8, section 8.
Section 8,
Motor vehicles?
under Exhibit A, Section 8 motor vehicles, subsection
435-15
Two.
B.
B2?
2.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Yep.
Okay.
So. I'll either
30
go-
days? 45 days?
I mean, that's pretty generous. I was going to go less, actually. You want to go 30?
I probably wouldn't recommend going less than 30.
I'll take that then.
After it's identified, is that what you're saying?
Right. It would have to be registered,
Mm-hmm.
licensed,
30 days.
and not in disrepair.
I'll take that. I was going to go 15, but I'll go half.
Very good.
Thanks, Tom. Thanks, Stephen.
Stephen, hold on a second. One of the things, it's not in any of your changes that are recommended, but in Exhibit A, letter A, small a, it's talking about invasive and noxious plant growth. I have no problem with.
Where we at?
But it also says, weeds shall be defined as all grasses, annual plants, and vegetation other than trees or shrubs, and they can't be more than 8 inches. I mean, we have decorative grasses now. We have pollinator flowers and things that are much, much higher than 8 inches.
But they wouldn't fall on, they would be cultivated plants.
Okay,
Like-
so the part that says shall not include cultivated flowers and gardens has nothing to do with height.
Correct.
Okay. Okay.
Anything else?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we have bill number 23 being introduced by David O'Connell. An ordinance amending section 245-8F UCC 403.216 International Residential Code 1 parentheses 1 IRC Table 301.2.1 Climatic and Geographic Designs Criteria contained in Chapter 245 Construction of the Code of the City of Easton, Pennsylvania.
So introduced.
We have
Dr. Ruggles, hold on.
Sorry, I just was wondering when it said, first of all, it upped the wind speed from 90 to 110. I assume that was just the code itself, or is that?
Correct. So the state of Pennsylvania adopted the 2015 International Building Code under the Uniform Construction Code. One of the changes within that code update increased our wind speed region from 90 to 110. There's actually
Excuse me,
no
that
longer.
says 90 to 115.
I'm sorry, 150.
Yeah.
Okay.
I apologize. There is no longer a 90 mile per hour wind region.
The other question, I just don't know what it means, is when it says topographic, what does that mean?
So based on slopes you might have, such as hilly regions or whatever, the wind speed changes or has wind speed effects as it hits, say, a mountain, and could cause additional uplift or wind effects on a structure.
So the topographic is related to actual wind speed,
But
based upon the topography.
Correct.
Okay. It just said topographic, and I was
Sure.
like, I don't know what that means. Yeah. Okay. Good. Thank you.
Okay, we
I'll
have bill
hang
number
that just in case.
24 being introduced by Kenneth Brown. An ordinance to authorize and direct the incurring of non-electoral debt through the issuance of a general obligation note, Series A of 2019, federally taxable. The note in the maximum principal amount of $6,750,000.
So introduced.
Okay, we have a resolution being introduced by David O'Connell. Whereas subsection G of section 560-61 of the codified ordinances provides in part that no more than 2 handicap signs shall be placed within one city block. Now therefore be it resolved that the council of the city of Easton, Pennsylvania accepts the recommendation of the Board of Health to waive the requirements of section 560-61G and hereby approves the placement of a 3rd sign on the 1100 block of Ferry Street because of a definite need of the same.
So moved.
Second.
Moved in second discussion. Roll call.
Mayor Panto?
Aye.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Mr. Ettinger?
Aye.
Mr. Milan?
Aye.
Mr. O'Connell?
Aye.
Dr. Ruggles?
Aye.
Mrs. Volcano?
Aye.
We have a resolution, just bear with me, I'm going to make sure I'm going in the right order. We have a resolution being introduced by James Ettinger. Resolved that the Council of the City of Easton, Pennsylvania, that the job description for the position of Supervisor of Neighborhood Engagement, copy attached here too, in the Department of Public Works, as recommended by the City Administration, be and it is hereby approved.
So moved.
Second.
Moved in second, discussion.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Is this a new position or is this just a change
This
of
is
a
an
title?
added duties.
That's what I
to
thought.
expand
Okay.
the Recreation Department into all neighborhood activities.
Okay, just wanted to make sure.
No problem.
Thank you.
Roll call.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Mr. Ettinger?
Aye.
Mr. Milan?
Aye.
Mr. O'Connell?
Aye.
Dr. Ruggles?
Aye.
Mrs. Volcano?
Aye.
Mayor Panto?
Aye.
We have a resolution, and there's it's been put all in front of you there. Resolution being introduced by James Ettinger. Resolved that the resolution number 216-2018, which is the 2019 salary and wage resolution, is hereby amended as follows. In the Department of Public Works, Bureau of Parks and Recreations, we amend from the Neighborhood and Recreation Programs Coordinator at $58,119 to the Supervisor of Neighborhood Engagement of $66,463.
So moved.
Second.
Moved in second, discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Ettinger?
Aye.
Mr. Milan?
Aye.
Mr. O'Connell?
Aye.
Dr. Ruggles?
Aye.
Mrs. Volcano?
Aye.
Mayor Panto?
Aye.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
We have a resolution being introduced by James Ettinger. Be it resolved that the Council of the City of Easton, Pennsylvania has reviewed and approves the city's Equal Employment Opportunity Policy, copy attached here too.
So moved.
Second.
Moved in second, discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Milan?
Aye.
Mr. O'Connell?
Aye.
Dr. Ruggles?
Aye.
Mrs. Volcano?
Aye.
Mayor Panto?
Aye.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Mr. Ettinger?
Aye.
We have a resolution being introduced by James Ettinger. Be it resolved that the Council of the City of Easton, Pennsylvania has reviewed and approves the city's ethics policy, copy attached here too.
So moved.
Second.
Moved in second, discussion. I noticed, Louis, this, I apologize for bringing it up now, but I thought when we talked about the staff meeting, I thought we were going to talk about our ethics commission. There's nothing in here that says that our ethics commission was created by ordinance in 2008. Personally, don't think we should have it because the state has one. I'd much rather see it done as by a third party like that. When you're talking about ethics, you don't have the conflict of interest. But I mean, if we have an ethics commission, some of these things should go to them for investigation. Especially if it deals with a public official, maybe not so much an employee, but a public official, it should go to the ethics commission. That's what they were set up for ethical violations by council members, mayors, controllers, and employees. I think this is a great start. I mean, obviously we need it. We haven't had one, and we should have it. But maybe we should look at it. I don't want to hold it up tonight because I would rather have it on the books. But I think I hate to.
More work to be done.
Yeah, there's more work to be done. Unfortunately, the ethics commission doesn't meet as often as it should because they don't have any.
Yeah,
The ethics
members.
commission says they don't meet unless there's an issue. Good news is they don't meet, but it's hard to get people on it.
Mayor, I think the comment you made at the very beginning of this specific part is probably something to give real serious thought to, which is to rely on the state. I mean, one of the problems we have is that if we create committees or commissions, it's always a challenge, but more importantly, we don't necessarily have the resources. And if you can do these things right, the commission needs its own counsel. It actually becomes a major budgetary item for people who are not going to have the type of experience that a state form board would have, as long as they're able to provide that service. I don't see any reason why they wouldn't be able to. So I think the part of the ethics policy, because I did help work on that, is to gain control within the city itself and make sure everybody knew exactly where the limits were and for display purposes. But as far as, particularly if it's an issue dealing with a public official, I think it's really a good idea for us to look into what the state will do and provide, and perhaps even replace our own ethics commission with referral to the state, just as a very practical thing, and as a way to make sure that the people who really can be objective, because that's another concern I have when you're dealing with issues in a relatively smaller community. You sometimes get a more objective review and a knowledgeable review by relying on those particular resources.
Well, if we're gonna look at that, we should look at the Human Relations Commission too, because
well,
that
that's
has
the-
never met.
Well, that's those are the
That
two,
has never met. I can't get anyone to serve on it because they have no meeting.
those are
only
the
have
two,
two.
those are the two,
They have
spec-
two, right.
those are the two specific boards that I was thinking of, and I really do recommend in the latter.
The one issue that came up before Human Relations is, Mr. Murphy and I met with the individual. It had nothing to do with the city. We
Well,
directed him to the state Human Relations.
And that's why, going back to what Joel had mentioned, with all he said, in addition to that, it was the budgetary issue of getting an outside counsel, a solicitor, and so these two boards would be probably subject to some sort of retainer
yeah,
with outside counsel.
I think the ethics does have a lawyer.
Oh, yeah, they do.
Yeah,
Yep. And there's only 3 members on that.
that's correct. And I have been actually trying to contact the gentleman for
Yeah,
detailed
they
notes on
meet
the
on
invoices.
the even months now,
Yes.
if they meet at all.
Okay, moving on.
Okay, we have a resolution being introduced by James Ettinger. Resolved that the Council of the City of Easton has reviewed and approves a 4-year collective bargaining agreement, copy attached here too, between the City of Easton and local number 713, International Association of Firefighters.
So moved.
Tom, I don't think we voted on that ethics.
Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, I was wondering. Can we go back and
Sure.
take a vote on the
Absolutely.
ethics, please?
Vote on the ethics.
Mr. O'Connell?
Aye.
Dr. Ruggles?
Aye.
Mrs. Volcano?
Aye.
Mayor Panto?
Aye.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Mr. Ettinger?
Aye.
Mr. Milan?
Aye.
Okay, would you want me to read this again?
No, I don't think it's necessary.
It was moved by Mr. Ettinger.
Second.
Moved in second. Discussion? Roll call.
Dr. Ruggles?
Aye.
Mrs. Volcano?
Aye.
Mayor Panto?
Aye.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Mr. Ettinger?
Aye.
Mr. Milan?
Aye.
Mr. O'Connell?
Aye.
At this time, we have public comment on any matter. Before we get to that, I see Melissa back there. I just want to say that the staff that attended the open house last Wednesday night was excellent. It was a good meeting. I thought it was very informative. It's nice, I think, that as we create that Easton committee, that forum every year, or twice a year, I think, what is it, twice a year? Yeah, it'll be very interesting for people who want to show up and actually learn what the college is all about. I did not know about the overlook on College Avenue. I think that'd be very interesting as well.
Excuse me, sir. What open house? For the
Lafayette College had an open house for the College Hill community last Wednesday night.
Okay.
And then they did a tour, for those that wanted a tour of the Rockwell Integrated Sciences Building, which I had already seen, but it's phenomenal. Did you get your coffee today?
Not today, yesterday.
Oh, yesterday, okay, it was yesterday then we talked, yeah, that's right, today.
Actually, the cost is pretty good, $1.65 for a large.
Wow, we may have to go all the way up there to get one. Don't tell Lewis. Lewis would just rather borrow K-cups from everybody else on the staff, right, Mark?
I guess that's what we get.
All right, anybody in the public like to address city council on any issue?
Okay, adjourn.
Garrett, you have meetings tomorrow? Good, good, we're really happy. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Move.
Second.
Moved and second. Discussion, roll call.
Mr. Milan?
Aye.
Mr. O'Connell?
Aye.
Dr. Ruggles?
Aye.
Mrs. Volcano?
Aye.
Mayor Panto?
Aye.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Mr. Ettinger?
Aye.
Peter, don't run away yet.
I'm leaving, Tommy. I don't have time for this.
No,
I don't have time for this nonsense.
You missed the day.
I haven't seen you in a while.
Kenny, I guess I'm in for a good meeting tomorrow.
Yeah.
You know,
I
every
got
time
a call.
everybody